Oh, it's such
I actually just watched a video with DC the other day that made me think, where he was talking about like how much more dangerous boxing is.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense what he was talking about, where like they get 10 seconds to kind of like get some sense of like coherence back.
They go right
So
back
they
to
take way more hits
shot.
after they've been potentially concussed than somebody in like a UFC fight.
Well, so what is the purpose in boxing is to knock the guy out. That is the ultimate goal. You can get doctor stoppage, you can get a knockout, you can get a TKO, but it's head trauma. The reason they wear the glove is not to protect your hand. That's what the wrap is for. The glove is to displace the blow. So now you can take more blows. So boxers used to say when I was starting, like, oh, well, MMA fighters have no chins. But the lack of the surface area with the impact zone of the head causes a greater chance of the knockout than a displaced blow, which is going to allow you still took the absorption of the blow, but it displaced it across your whole head instead of one key point, which allows you to take more damage. So, I mean, it is, that is crazy.
I mean, are you guys aware of any like deaths or anything like that? Like with boxing, it seems like it happens in boxing all the time.
It's like 1.7 times a year somebody passes away in boxing. Whereas I'm sure it's happened in MMA. You hear about it, and then people will be like, well, that was unregulated, or that was this, or that was that.
I feel like it's the weight cutting mostly.
For the MMA, yeah.
I was just watching a documentary about Dillashaw when he was cutting for that
25?
fight.
Yeah. He looked gnarly. I've seen that documentary.
It is wild.
Yeah, he cut a lot of weight. He probably shouldn't have done it in hindsight, I'm sure.
Well, it's wild because they were talking about, I think he was already like almost 8% body fat before he was doing the cut.
Yeah.
So it's like by then you're like,
Bro, you're lean.
there's nothing left of you, dude. It's like, it's crazy.
More importantly, I think it's how you put it back on too afterwards. Like the fact that they'll say, oh, you can't use an IV because the plastics cover up they mask the steroids, the half-lives and the things in the steroids, or the masking agents that people will use derived from plastic and this. I don't see how that's allowed, but yet they're saying that that's it. Well, I think it just gives them more faster knockouts, like easier knockouts. You're going to get more knockouts if the guys are dehydrated, because if they cared, they would be hydrated fully, and you'd see a rock'em sock'em fight. The fact that they allow like 500 cc's of an IV in, well, shoot, that has, you're actually in the UFC and stuff, from what I understand, like some people can get 500 cc's of fluids back into their system.
I think you have to be like recommended that or something by a professional
but they allow people to pull blood out and then put it back in.
Oh, in UFC?
Like
It's happened.
But that doesn't mean they allow it.
No.
Okay, you said they allowed it.
If it happened, they allowed it.
But I don't. Did they know that happened?
they allow it
Yeah, I've
under the
never
books,
heard of anybody
Wasn't there
pulling blood and then
am I
putting it back in.
Am I mistaken, or didn't, I think in Abu Dhabi one of the fighters pull blood, or and then go weigh in? I believe it was as early as Abu Dhabi.
No way.
I don't think so.
That sounds like some
I
witch
don't think so.
doctor
I don't-
shit.
People at home, please, if you could, write in the comments and let us know if you know that exact fact, because I don't want to state anything that isn't true, but I'm pretty sure I heard that has happened, and I would love to be like right on this.
What do you usually cut?
Water-wise, no more than 5 pounds.
So you pretty close to
Yeah, I diet down, lose as much body fat, like real actual weight as possible close to the fight, and then from there only cut like 4 to 5 pounds of water.
Oh, that's nice. Seems like a good way to do it.
At most.
And he's performing the same day weigh-in, so it's like, yeah, you don't want to cut a bunch of weight anyway, because you don't have that much time to rehydrate.
You can only metabolize 2.5 pounds of fat a week. Like, not metabolize, but burn. Anything else, it's like protein and stuff like that.
You said 2.5 pounds?
Of fat a week, healthy. So like, you can ideally in a month lose 10 pounds, but without losing muscle mass. And then you could cut, they say healthy without needing an IV, 10%, and up to 20%. But at that point, you're looking, and that's what these guys that are huge are doing.
So like 200, you get down to like 180, 185.
If you're 200 pounds, you can cut to 180 in water weight. But if that's 20%, so then, or is that 10%?
10%.
10%? You're way better at math than me. But you can do that because you have it. But when you're like 155 and cut into 25s, you don't have that. So you're actually pulling through, there's fluid that's in your organs, there's fluid that's in your muscles, and then there's just regular fluid you're putting in. And so when you know how to do it properly and put it back on, it is an advantage.